By the time he reached the age of 30, one commander had taken control of nearly 90% of the known world. Across dozens of battlefields, he never lost a single engagement. The origin of that record sits here, in the modern-day ruins of Pella. In 356 BCE, this was the capital of Macedon, a relatively modest kingdom on the northern edge of Greece. It was here that Alexander was born. As the crown prince, he operated under the crushing expectations of his father, King Philip II, a brilliant military reformer in his own right. To ensure his son's mind was as sharp as his sword, Philip brought in Aristotle as a private tutor. The philosopher trained the teenager in science, medicine, and literature, creating a commander who approached war as an intellectual problem to be solved. That calculating approach showed early. While older, experienced handlers failed to tame a massive, aggressive horse named Bucephalus, the young prince realized the animal was simply afraid of its own shadow. He turned the horse toward the sun, calmed it, and secured a mount that would carry him across continents. In 336 BCE, King Philip was assassinated by one of his own bodyguards. Chaos threatened the Macedonian court, but the 20-year-old Alexander moved immediately. He executed his rivals, secured the loyalty of the army, and took the throne. He inherited his father's crown, and with it, a massive, uncompleted objective: crossing the sea to attack the dominant global superpower of the era, the Persian Empire. This map tracks the initial invasion in 334 BCE. Leading 40,000 troops out of Greece, Alexander crossed the Hellespont into hostile territory. At the Granicus River, he charged the local Persian governor's defensive lines, securing a rapid victory that shocked the Persian military. A year later, at Issus, the stakes escalated. The Persian emperor, Darius III, arrived to personally crush the invaders. Instead, Alexander's precise cavalry strikes broke through the Persian ranks, forcing Darius to abandon his army and flee the battlefield. Rather than chasing the emperor eastward immediately, Alexander turned south to besiege the island city of Tyre. This was an engineering feat many deemed impossible, and its success cleared his path directly into Egypt. The Egyptians welcomed him as a liberator from Persian rule, anointing him as pharaoh. He laid the foundations for Alexandria, embedding his name into the Mediterranean coastline for millennia. This reception in North Africa shifted his internal perspective. He adopted the absolute authority of the pharaohs, operating under the belief that his rule was divinely ordained. By 331 BCE, he marched back north to finish the war. At Gaugamela, Darius waited with a massive force exceeding 100,000 men. Despite being heavily outnumbered, Alexander executed a flanking maneuver that split the Persian center wide open. That victory marked the absolute collapse of the Persian Empire. Alexander assumed the title King of Asia, and his currency began to reflect his elevated status, portraying him with the horns of a deity. He spent the next 3 years pushing deeper into the continent. He captured the Persian capital, Persepolis, and burned its royal palaces to the ground, a permanent physical marker of his dominance. As he moved into the rough terrain of Central Asia, military force wasn't enough to hold the territory. To secure alliances and pacify local rebellions, he integrated Persian customs into his court and married a local noblewoman named Roxana. With the old empire dismantled, Alexander faced a new problem. His generals had achieved everything they set out to do, but their commander's desire for territory had no endpoint. In 326 BCE, this route stretches the map to its limits. Alexander pushed his forces through the Khyber Pass and into the Indian subcontinent, facing an entirely unfamiliar climate and a fortified enemy at the Hydaspes River. Confronting King Porus meant fighting in the heavy mud of monsoon rains. More critically, it was the first time the Macedonian infantry faced a coordinated assault by armored war elephants. Alexander won the engagement, and out of respect for Porus's tactical skill, returned his kingdom to him as an ally. But the victory came at a steep cost. His lifelong mount, Bucephalus, sustained fatal injuries in the mud. The campaign finally stalled at the borders of the vast Nanda Empire. They were entirely exhausted, battered by disease, and unwilling to face more elephants. The Macedonian soldiers mutinied. They stood their ground and refused to advance. No enemy tactician or foreign army had been able to stop the Macedonian advance. The campaign ended only when the physical and psychological endurance of his own men finally collapsed. The army began a brutal, agonizing march back west, eventually settling into the ancient metropolis of Babylon in 323 BCE. Shortly after arriving, a severe fever took hold of him. After 10 days of rapid decline, on June 11th, the 32-year-old commander was dead. He left no clear successor behind. Within days of his final breath, his closest generals tore the massive empire apart, partitioning the landmass to establish their own rival kingdoms. His 12-year campaign established a network of cities from the Mediterranean to the Indus River. This initiated the Hellenistic period, an era where Greek language and administration merged with Eastern trade and art. He built a reputation on invincibility, navigating thousands of miles of hostile territory without a single tactical defeat. But in the end, an empire secured by one man's momentum could not survive without him.